Bangkok. It's always been a city of beautiful contradictions. You've got these magnificent golden temples right next to crumbling alleyways. The air smells like a mix of sacred incense and traffic fumes, and you see smiles that feel like they're hiding a secret or two. I landed there in early March, chasing adventure, some sun, and honestly, a bit of an escape. Just a month before, I'd walked out of my job in London. My life had become this monotonous treadmill of deadlines and conversations that just felt gray. Bangkok was the antidote I was looking for. Color, chaos, life. I found a cheap hostel near Khao San Road, the global headquarters for backpackers, where the nights are loud and the beers are cheap. Those first few days were a blur, in the best way possible. I wandered through ancient temples, got completely lost in sprawling markets, and ate street noodles so spicy they made me sweat like I'd just run a marathon. I was meeting people from all over the world, each with their own story, digital nomads, people mending broken hearts, seekers like me. Everyone was searching for something. Then, on my fourth night, I met her. Her name was Nisha. She was sitting by herself at this little rooftop bar with the city lights twinkling behind her like a sea of fallen stars. She was wearing a simple white dress and had this smile that made you feel like she knew something you didn't. I ordered a beer, and somehow my feet just carried me over to the empty seat next to her. "Tourist?" she asked, her English almost perfect. "Guilty," I said with a laugh. "And you?" She just grinned. "I live here. I like meeting new people. Bangkok can be lonely sometimes." We ended up talking for hours. She told me she worked part-time at a travel agency, that she loved photography, and dreamed of seeing Europe one day. I told her about quitting my job, about this crossroads I was at, trying to figure out what was next. She listened, and I mean really listened, with her chin resting on her hand, her eyes never leaving mine. When the bar finally closed, she offered to show me the real Bangkok. We walked through these narrow, winding alleys, past street vendors who were still frying up pad thai at 2 a.m. We ended up by the Chao Phraya River, just watching the city lights shimmer on the dark water. The air smelled like it was about to rain. The whole moment felt like a scene straight out of a movie. For the next few days, we were practically inseparable. She took me to these incredible hidden cafes and quiet temples that you never find in a guidebook. She introduced me to her cousin, who ran a small jewelry shop. I bought a silver bracelet there, which she said was blessed by monks. It cost a bit more than I'd planned to spend, but Nisha just squeezed my hand and told me it would bring me good luck. On the 5th day, she had an idea. "Let's go to Pattaya for the weekend," she said, her eyes sparkling. "My friend has a car. We can just split the cost for gas and the hotel." It sounded spontaneous, exciting, exactly the kind of adventure I came to Thailand for. She said she'd handle all the bookings. I just needed to give her my share in cash. It was about 8,000 baht, roughly $200. Easy. She said she'd arrange everything. That evening, I got a message from her. "My friend can't come tonight. We go tomorrow, okay?" No problem. But the next day she was late. Then, she was even later. And then, her phone stopped answering. My calls went straight to voicemail. At first, I was worried. I thought maybe something bad had happened to her. I went back to the rooftop bar where we first met. I showed the bartender her picture. He just shook his head. "Nisha," he said. "That girl comes here sometimes. Talks to tourists. Be careful, man." My stomach just sank. I rushed over to the jewelry shop. The cousin wasn't there. The woman working behind the counter said she'd never heard of anyone named Nisha. And the bracelet I'd bought? It wasn't silver. It was cheap steel, worth maybe 100 baht, if that. It hit me then, slowly, like a cold wave washing over me. I'd been played. All of it, the deep conversations, the laughter, that perfect enchanting mix of affection and mystery. It had all been a performance, a well-practiced script. For days I felt like such a fool. I was angry, of course, but mostly I was just embarrassed. How could I? A supposedly educated, street-smart traveler fall for something so obvious? I went to the local tourist police station to report it. The officer barely even raised an eyebrow. "Happens a lot," he said with a sigh. "You're not the first. You won't be the last." He filled out a form, gave me a polite nod, and that was it. Case closed. That night I went back to the river, to the exact spot where she had kissed me. The city looked the same, but I felt different. Still, Bangkok has a way of not letting you stay bitter for long. The city just keeps moving. Tuk-tuks honking, monks chanting, vendors shouting. Life just pulls you forward. And slowly, I started to see the humor in it. I learned to laugh about it. Every traveler has a story, and I guess this was mine. It changed how I traveled. I started talking to more locals, asking real questions, trying to learn a few Thai phrases. I visited real, local markets where nobody was trying to sell me anything more than a smile. I met people who had absolutely nothing to gain from me. The woman selling mango sticky rice, a taxi driver who told me about his family, even a monk who blessed my new bracelet, a cheap one I'd bought for myself. Then, about a week later, I saw her. I was walking through a night market, and I spotted that same white dress in the crowd. She was with another tourist, a tall guy with a big camera round his neck. She was laughing, touching his arm, playing the exact same role she played for me. For a second, I thought about confronting her, but what good would that do? She'd just smile, deny everything, maybe even cry. Instead, I just stood there and watched. As she turned, our eyes met, and she froze. For just a split second, I think I saw something real in her eyes. Surprise, maybe guilt, maybe even a flash of shame. And then, just as quickly, the mask was back on. She turned away, leading the new guy deeper into the crowd. I walked back to my hostel feeling strangely at peace. I realized that these scams aren't just about money. They're about trust. She didn't just take my cash. She borrowed my hope, my curiosity, my willingness to be open. But the thing is, she couldn't keep those things. They were still mine. Bangkok had taken something from me, yes, but it had also given me something back, a much clearer sense of who I was. Before I left, I wrote her a note. I never planned to deliver it. It was just for me, a way to let it all go. "Nisha," it said, "if that's even your real name, thank you. You taught me something no guidebook ever could. The world is full of masks, but it's also full of truth. I hope someday you find a reason to take yours off for good." I folded the note and let it drift into the river, where the city's lights shimmered like 1,000 secrets. When I boarded my flight home, I was still wearing that cheap steel bracelet. It didn't bring me luck, but it brought me a story, and in the end, that's worth something more. Bangkok remained as it was, beautiful, chaotic, and completely unpredictable. And I guess so is life. Thanks so much for listening to my story. If you've ever had an experience like this on your travels, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing for more stories. See you in the next one.